The message arrived without warning. It was broadcasted on every human colony, every space station, and even on Earth itself. A simple transmission, a dark screen, and then a voice. They are ours now. Then silence. At first, no one understood who was taken, who sent this message, but within minutes, the horror became clear. Across human-controlled space, children had vanished. Panic across the stars. On Mars, a mother screamed as she found her son's bed empty. On Europa Station, security footage showed a shadowy figure leading a group of children into a transporter before the feed cut out. On Earth, an entire school in New London Colony reported missing students. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a coincidence. It was a coordinated attack. The realization hit like a thunderstorm. Someone had kidnapped human children. A galaxy in denial. Within hours, the leaders of Earth and its colonies demanded an emergency session of the Galactic Council. Ambassador Daniel Carter stood before the gathered alien representatives. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned with fury. Our children have been taken. We demand answers. The council chamber buzzed with whispers. Some alien species looked away, others remained silent. Then, a high-ranking HFY delegate, Varnock, rose from his seat. His mandibles clicked in amusement. "Humans always assume they are the center of the universe," he said mockingly. "Do you have proof that this was not just a human matter?" Daniel clenched his fists. "Are you saying this is our fault?" Varnock shrugged. "Perhaps your kind should watch over their young more carefully." Laughter echoed from some of the alien seats. Others remained still, their expressions unreadable. Humanity's fury awakens. On Earth, the streets filled with protesters. People demanded action. On military bases, commanders gathered their forces. Warships prepared for launch. Admiral Sarah Reynolds, one of Earth's top strategists, slammed her fist on the table during a high-level meeting. "The Council is ignoring us. We don't have time for politics." General Liu nodded. "Then we stop waiting. We find them ourselves." A new operation was launched. The largest human intelligence mission in history. Every spy, every eye, every hidden agent was activated. They would track the kidnappers. They would find their children. And if the Galactic Council wouldn't help, humanity would burn the stars to bring them home. A dark warning. As Earth prepared for war, another mysterious message arrived. But this time, it wasn't a threat. It was a warning. A single phrase, spoken in a voice filled with fear. "Do not come looking. You will not like what you find." The night sky over Earth was clear, but deep in space, shadows moved. Humanity's most powerful minds worked in secret, following the few clues left behind by the kidnappers. They had to act fast. Every second that passed meant the children were further away, possibly beyond reach. But humanity had a rule. No one takes what is ours. A dead end. Ambassador Daniel Carter sat in his office, watching the same footage over and over again. The surveillance data from Mars, Europa Station, and Earth's colonies all pointed to an advanced alien force. But who? His communicator beeped. A hologram of Director Ava Sinclair, the head of Earth's intelligence network, appeared. Her voice was sharp. "We traced a ship leaving Europa Station. It didn't file a flight plan." Daniel leaned forward. "Where did it go?" Ava's expression darkened. It vanished near the edge worlds. The edge worlds, lawless regions beyond council control. A place filled with pirates, slavers, and black market dealers. If the children had been taken there, they might never come back. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council, while humans prepared for war, the council chambers echoed with mockery. Varnock, the HFY delegate, laughed as he spoke to the assembly. "Humans are overreacting again. A few missing young. That is no cause for such noise." Some delegates nodded in agreement. Others looked uneasy. The silence was broken by Ambassador Thalrex of the Zerani, one of humanity's few alien allies. "This was not an accident," Falrex said, his voice cold. "If they can take human children today, what will they take from us tomorrow?" The room fell silent. Varnok's mandibles twitched. "The Council will not act on human emotions. No proof means no intervention." Dangle Carter stood up. His voice was low but filled with fury. "You will regret this." Then he walked out. Earth takes action. Since the Council refused to help, humanity took matters into its own hands. A fleet of stealth ships, covert, unregistered, deadly, was launched toward the Edgeworlds. Leading the mission was Commander Jack Hale, a veteran of 100 battles. His orders were clear. 1. Find the kidnappers. 2. Find the children. 3. Make them pay. As the fleet prepared to jump, Hale sent a single message back to Earth: "We will bring them home." And with that, the hunt began. The stealth fleet moved like ghosts through the void, their engines silent, their hulls masked against detection. Commander Jack Hale sat in the command chair of the HSS Revenant, his eyes locked on the star map. The Edgeworld stretched before them, an abyss of lawlessness, where ships disappeared and questions were answered with gunfire. Approaching the last known coordinates of the kidnapper ship, his pilot reported. Hale nodded. "Drop us out of FTL. Full sensor sweep." The ship shuddered as it slowed. The view ahead was empty space. No planets, no stations, nothing. But the scanners told a different story. A hidden trail. "Sir, I've got residual energy signatures," the tactical officer said. "A ship was here recently, and it was masking its presence." Hale leaned forward. "Can we trace it?" The officer hesitated. "It's weak, but yes. The trail leads toward the Riven Expanse." The Riven Expanse. Hale cursed under his breath. That was pirate territory, a place where criminals, warlords, and slavers ruled. If the children had been taken there, it meant only one thing: they were being sold. A message in the dark. As the fleet adjusted course, an encrypted transmission came through. "Unknown signal detected," the comms officer said. "It's coded in an old human military format." Hale frowned. "Put it through." A voice filled the bridge, weak, distorted, but undeniably human. "2. Any human forces. They took us. We are not alone. Experiments." Then static. Silence. The entire bridge crew sat frozen. Hale's jaw tightened. "Run a trace. Now." "Sir," the comms officer whispered, "that signal came from inside the Riven Expanse." Hale gritted his teeth. "Then that's where we're going." The Council's fear. Meanwhile, back at the Galactic Council, whispers of humanity's defiance had begun to spread. Varnok, the XL-FAR delegate, scowled as reports reached his desk. "They're moving against us," his assistant warned. "Their fleet is heading into restricted space." Varnok's mandibles twitched in irritation. Humans are predictable. They will charge in, and they will die. But deep down, he felt a sliver of unease. Because if history had taught the galaxy anything, it was never wise to corner humanity. The stealth fleet drifted toward the Riven Expanse, its ships hidden against the backdrop of space. Inside the HSS Revenant, Commander Jack Hale stood at the bridge, eyes locked on the swirling void ahead. The Expanse was a graveyard of old warships, a region where pirates, slavers, and warlords ruled without mercy. If the children were here, their captors were either planning to sell them, or something far worse. Hale's grip tightened around the command chair. "We are running out of time. A trap waiting to spring." "Scanning the area," said the sensor officer. "There's something strange." Hale turned. Defined strange. Multiple ships, scattered, drifting, but no signs of life. Hale frowned. "Derelicts?" The officer hesitated. "Maybe, but something doesn't add up." The tactical officer spoke up next. "I'm detecting faint distress signals from several of them. Could be bait. A classic pirate trick. Leave a ship behind, fake a distress call, then ambush whoever was foolish enough to investigate. Commander, orders. Hale didn't hesitate. We ignore the trap. Find the children. But as the fleet started moving past the derelicts, a sudden warning blared. Incoming contacts. Multiple ships decloaking. The trap was already sprung. Battle in the void. The enemy fleet was large. Dozens of black market warships, scavenged from old battles, modified for raiding. A deep, crackling voice came over the comms. Humans, you should not have come here. Hale smirked. You shouldn't have taken our children. They are not yours anymore. Hale's expression darkened. Fire. The Revenant unleashed its first barrage, blue plasma beams tearing through the nearest pirate vessel. Explosions rippled through space as the human fleet engaged, weaving between enemy fire. Missiles launched. Energy beams sliced through armor. Ships burned. The battle was brutal, but humanity had something the pirates didn't. Discipline, strategy, ruthlessness. The signal. Even in the chaos, one officer shouted, "Sir, we're detecting a signal, same frequency as the distress call." Hale's eyes snapped toward the screen. Where? A location flashed. A station hidden within an asteroid field. Hale didn't wait. Break through the enemy line. Set course for that station. The Revenant surged forward, leading a squadron of strike ships, dodging debris and enemy fire. As they approached the station, one final transmission came through. A voice. Weak, afraid, but alive. Please, help us. Hale's hands clenched into fists. Hold on, kid. We're coming. The HSS Revenant and its escort ships weaved through the asteroid field, dodging debris and enemy fire. The pirate fleet was in disarray, unprepared for the sheer precision and aggression of the human forces. Commander Jack Hale's voice was steady as he gave the next order. Lock onto the station. Prepare for boarding. The hidden station loomed ahead, its surface scarred and rusted, covered in makeshift defenses. This was no ordinary pirate hideout. It was a prison. And inside, humanity's stolen children waited. Breaking the chains, multiple gun batteries charging up, shouted the tactical officer. They're trying to keep us out. Hale's jaw tightened. Take them out. Full power. The Revenant's cannons roared, blasting apart turrets before they could fire. Missiles screamed through space, slamming into the station's outer hull. Explosions rippled across its surface. We've breached the outer defenses. Hale wasted no time. Send in the boarding teams. I want boots on that station. Now. Within seconds, drop pods and boarding craft launched toward the station, cutting through the last line of resistance. Human soldiers, armed and armored, smashed through the docking bay doors. The real battle had begun. Inside the darkness, the corridors were dark and cold, filled with the stench of oil, blood, and fear. Sergeant Elena Vasquez led the charge, her pulse rifle raised. Check every room. We find those kids. Doors were kicked in. Guards fell. Security drones were hacked and turned against their masters. Then, in one of the deepest cells, they found them. The children, huddled together, eyes wide with fear, wearing ragged clothes and shock collars. Some were too weak to even stand. A young boy, no older than 10, looked up, blinking through the dim light. "Are you real?" he whispered. Vasquez knelt beside him, removing his collar. "Yeah, kid, we're real, and we're taking you home." The boy started crying. But they weren't safe yet. The last stand. As the soldiers secured the children, alarms blared. Hostiles inbound. A Marine yelled. They're sending reinforcements. A final wave of pirate enforcers, heavily armored, desperate, charged down the corridors. Hale's voice crackled over the comms. Hold the line. The kids come first. Gunfire lit up the station as humanity made its stand. There was no surrender. No mercy. and no force in the galaxy it would take these children from humanity again. The battle raged inside the pirate station. Gunfire echoed through the dim corridors as humanity's soldiers fought tooth and nail to protect the rescued children. Sergeant Elena Vasquez fired another burst from her pulse rifle, dropping a heavily armored pirate enforcer. She turned, breathing hard. How many kids left? A medic, kneeling beside a trembling girl, checked his list. We have most of them, but some cells are deeper in. They locked the weakest ones below. Vasquez cursed. Of course they did. Her comm crackled. Vasquez, this is Hale. We're running out of time. Enemy reinforcements inbound. She glanced at the children, some crying, some too weak to move. She wasn't leaving anyone behind. Give me 10 more minutes, sir. A pause. Then Hale's voice, steady. Make them count. Vasquez turned to her squad. We're getting every last kid out. Move. The deep cells. The lower levels were worse than she expected. Rust-covered walls, chains, the smell of fear. And in the farthest cell, a dozen children huddled together. Too sick, too weak to cry. A pirate stood in front of them, a blade in his hand. He sneered at Vasquez. You think you're heroes. Vasquez didn't hesitate. One shot, one body hitting the floor. Yeah, she muttered. I do. Her team rushed in, breaking chains, lifting the frail children. We've got them. Let's move. Escape under fire. The station shook as human warships pounded its hull. Explosions roared in the distance. Evac shuttles are waiting. Hale shouted over the comm. Move it, Vasquez. She and her team sprinted through the station, children in their arms. Enemy fire blazed past them, but they kept running. Then, just as they reached the last airlock, an explosion ripped through the hallway. Steel beams collapsed, cutting them off. Fire raged behind them. Vasquez coughed through the smoke. Damn it. Another way. A soldier checked his map. Maintenance tunnel, but it's unstable. Do it. They rushed through the narrow passage, the heat from the explosion licking at their backs. When they burst out onto the docking bay, the last shuttle was already lifting off. Hale's voice boomed through the comms. Vasquez, jump. She grabbed the closest child and leaped into the void. The final rescue. The shuttle's gravity tether locked onto them just in time. Soldiers hauled them inside, pulling the last child aboard. Vasquez collapsed onto the floor, gasping. Hale's face appeared above her, a rare smirk on his lips. You cut it close, Sergeant. She let out a breathless laugh. Close is better than too late. The shuttle turned, racing toward the fleet. Behind them, the pirate station erupted into fire, consumed by the full force of humanity's wrath. Every child was safe. But this war, it wasn't over yet. The battle was over, but the war had just begun. The human fleet hovered in orbit, their guns still hot from the destruction of the pirate station. Below, the wreckage floated in space, twisted metal and shattered ships drifting silently. On the bridge of the HSS Revenant, Commander Jack Hale stared at the holographic display, his expression grim. Casualties, he asked. A lieutenant read from his report. Minimal. All children secured. Some are weak, but our medics say they'll recover. Hale exhaled slowly. And the pirates? The tactical officer smirked. Non-existent. For a moment, silence filled the bridge. Then, a voice crackled over the comms. Sir, we have an incoming transmission from the Galactic Council. The room tensed. The same council that ignored the cries of those kidnapped children. The same council that had mocked humanity. Hale's lips curled into a dangerous smile. Put them through. The council's fear. The hologram flickered, revealing High Speaker Lauren. His reptilian face pale, his golden robes slightly disheveled. Commander Hale, Lauren said carefully. We receive reports of your fleet's actions. Hale leaned forward, his voice steady. You mean the destruction of a major criminal syndicate. The rescue of innocent children your peacekeepers ignored. Lauren's jaw tightened. You acted outside of protocol. You. Hale cut him off. Protocol. You mean the same rules that let slavers operate freely while you looked away. The council chamber behind Lauren murmured nervously. The other diplomats shifted in their seats. They were afraid. Good. Humanity draws the line. Hale straightened. This is your warning, High Speaker. Humanity will not wait for permission to protect its own. Lauren's eyes narrowed. Are you threatening the council? Hale's smirk was cold. No, Speaker. I'm telling you the new reality. We don't answer to cowards. The transmission cut out. For a moment, the bridge was silent. Then Vasquez, bruised, exhausted, but grinning, stepped up beside Hale. Think they got the message, sir? She asked. Hale turned to her. Oh, they got it. Outside, the fleet turned toward home, their people safe, their enemies burning, and the galaxy forever changed. Humanity had spoken, and the stars would never be the same.